Hello, this is Chaplain Shelby. Join me for today's devotional entitled Wonderful Counselor. Almost 800 years before it occurred, the prophet Isaiah prophesied to the Israelites that a Messiah would come. In the book of Isaiah, in chapter 7, verse 14, Isaiah wrote, "Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will be with child and will give birth to a son and will call him Emmanuel," God with us. Then in chapter 9, verses 6 and 7, we find the familiar passage, which is often read and quoted this time each year. It reads, "For unto us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this." Now, earlier in the book, Isaiah paints a bleak picture of humanity, its sinful ways and its impending judgment. But in the middle of the book, the prophet describes how Jesus' birth will remedy the situation. One of Jesus' descriptions is Wonderful Counselor. The Hebrew word for wonderful is pala, sometimes written or pronounced pele, which indicates something uncommon or out of the ordinary. It reflects or indicates a phenomenon lying outside the realm of human explanation, that which is separated from the normal course of events. The same word is used in Psalm 139:6, where it is written, "Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is too high, I cannot attain it." It describes something miraculous. The prophet Isaiah declared that the coming Christ would be a wonder. Now, this not only describes what he does, it describes who he is. He himself is the wonder. Now, the second part of this compound description is counselor. Pala yotz literally translates the wonder of a counselor. The Hebrew word used is yetz, which means to advise, counsel, devise, and purpose. In Hebrew, the historical usage of the word yetz describes a picture of a king giving counsel to his people. Pele yetz, used in combination, reveals that this child will be miraculously born to become an amazing advisor who works in all things for God's purpose, because the Holy Spirit dwells in him with all wisdom, all understanding, all counsel, strength, knowledge, and honor to God. Jesus wasn't only a wonderful counselor during his 33 years on earth. Since Jesus is alive today, he still acts as our wonderful counselor. When he died, he sent the Holy Spirit to live within believers. The Spirit, being one with God, guides and helps his people today. Christ's position as our wonderful counselor means we can trust him to listen to our problems and guide us in the right direction. The writer, Dr. Roger Barrier, wrote, and I quote, "Here are 4 reasons why we should want Jesus Christ for our counselor. Number 1, he's a counselor with the power to resolve. He does not just give counsel. He pours the power for successful resolution. Secondly, Jesus knows everything about everything. John 11:1-3 declares that Jesus is not just wise. He is God himself. He knows everything from eternity present to eternity future. Number 3, Jesus not only knows you very well, but he also knows exactly the path you should take. We often become self-reliant and assume that we can figure out our lives by research and advice of others. But so often, we start with plan A and end up with plan Z. Psalm 139 teaches us that Jesus created every fiber of our being. He knows exactly what we're thinking and what we'll do before we do it. And then fourthly, he is always available and never even a fraction away from you. When Jesus lived on earth, he could only advise those around him. That's why when he ascended into heaven, he sent the Holy Spirit, who never leaves us and always counsels us, unquote. Let me ask you, is life really hard for you right now? Are you facing some difficult decisions? Are there uncertainties in your life that you could use some counsel on? Or maybe all is well with you and yours, but there's this nagging fear of what might happen in the future. Let me suggest that it would be beneficial for you to make an appointment with this counselor. In fact, this counselor is so good that he is known as the Wonderful Counselor. His clientele list is impressive. The list includes kings and presidents and business leaders and janitors and mothers, fathers, doctors, lawyers, nurses, students, the rich and the poor. His office is always open, and his counsel is always best. And you won't have to worry about whether or not your insurance will cover the visit. This Christmas season, we have hope. We have hope because God has sent to us a wonderful counselor, Jesus the Christ. That's from the heart.